I know how crucial this routine can be, and I didn't have one for a long time, and sleep was something that I was really struggling with. Prioritizing sleep is not just a luxury, this is a basic need. Welcome to The PA is In, the show created by PAs for PAs, where codependency with your supervising physician is a thing of the past, optimal team practice is the future, and physician associate has taken the place of physician assistant as the professional title of choice. I'm Tracy Bingaman, and I'm obsessed with redefining what success as a PA looks like and what it feels like. Here you'll find the mindset shifts, systems, and processes I use to escape healthcare burnout and integrate my work into my life. Work-life balance is a myth, and an integrated life where you thrive professionally, not a balancing act, is the goal here. My mission is to help you to grow into a unicorn PA who loves their job, has abundant energy, time to spare, and work-optional financial freedom. The PA is in. Welcome back to The PA is In. Today, we're diving into a topic that's vital to our health and well-being, and that is sleep. We all know, at least in theory, how important sleep is, but do you know exactly how much we need as adults? According to the National Sleep Foundation, adults typically require between 7 and 9 hours of sleep per night for optimal health. Yes, many of us struggle to hit that mark, especially the upper end, 9 hours a night. Yes, I know that there are seasons in your life, maybe in school, maybe on certain rotations, or if you're in a specific job, or even at the beginning of parenthood, where you survived on less than that recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Probably, oftentimes, on much less than that range. However, we aren't talking about simply surviving. We're talking about how to thrive and be the very best version of you. And that, my friend, that person is well rested. Research shows that inadequate sleep can lead to numerous health issues, including things like impaired cognitive function, weakened immune response, and an increased risk for chronic conditions like heart disease and diabetes. I can personally attest to the fact that when I was burned out and not sleeping, my immune system was going haywire. From pneumonia to autoimmune issues, I was not at all firing on all cylinders. Letting me down in terms of an immune system that was not really protecting me against external intruders and inadvertently attacking my own body. None of us were thriving during that season. But here is the good news, and the topic of today's episode is that establishing a wind down routine or a pre-sleep routine can significantly improve both the quantity and the quality of your sleep. Yes, you heard that right. An ideal bedtime routine can help you to get more sleep and have it be a better quality of sleep while you're sleeping. In fact, a study published in the journal Sleep Health found that a consistent pre-bedtime routine helps to signal our bodies that it's time to sleep. It can reduce stress and again, enhance that quality of the sleep that we are getting. So let's talk about how we can create an effective wind down routine that sets us up for a restful night of quality, quantity sleep. As PAs, we know how to provide excellent care to our patients, but inevitably, there are work-related issues that can leave us, well, stumped. It could be a question about reimbursement, malpractice insurance, or renegotiating your contract. You might be looking for tips on having more effective conversations with patients or colleagues. Or maybe you want to move up in your career, but you're unsure if that means starting a new role, taking on a leadership position, or changing specialties. For everything I just mentioned, AAPA's Career Central has you covered. With more than 200 resources and a searchable database, you can find anything you need in minutes. Solve your next career challenge at aapa.org/careercentral. A nighttime routine is an area that I have struggled with since my kids were born. There was a season of life for me, and maybe this is true for you too, when bedtime was absolutely consumed with getting our kids to bed, getting them to sleep. and checking some dishes in the dishwasher, pressing start, falling into bed, hoping to get a few hours of sleep before our first kid woke up, needing to be fed, changed, or soothed, and rinse and repeat. I have always been someone who identifies as a high sleep needs person. As a baby, my mom used to joke that I was awake. And when I was awake, I was awake. And it wasn't safe for her to take her eyes off of me for even a moment. But when I slept, I meant it. And I was sleeping for 10 to 12 hours a night. And let me tell you, I needed that sleep as a baby and as a toddler and as an adolescent and even as an adult. I need more sleep than normal people, or I'm definitely on the higher end of that spectrum when it comes to sleep needs. To this day, if I am feeling particularly overwhelmed by life in general, or I'm feeling especially emotional, it's a safe bet that I haven't been sleeping well or I haven't been sleeping enough. A solid nap or a good night's sleep, and everything looks brighter for me. I'm not someone who would thrive working the night shift. I never say never, but I do not think that I would do well permanently in a position where I was swing shift or nights. God bless all of you who do things like those swing shifts or who work nights, who spend this time switching back and forth or live your life working nights all the time. I am not built for that. Even in college, I was an early to bed person. My freshman year roommate and I were famous for being lights out in our dorm room, done studying, like pajamas on, teeth brushed by 9 p.m. Living in the dorms, there were various degrees of ruckus happening in the hallway, but we were both early to bed people and we were both early morning risers. And I'm so glad we ended up rooming together because I think my other roommates potentially would have dreaded that early to bed lights out quiet part of me as an 18-year-old college freshman. I'm going to give you a peek at my nighttime routine in the hopes that it inspires you to reevaluate the things that you're doing to signal to your body that you're about to go to bed. So here's my evening routine. In my mind, my evening routine and my wind down routine starts once our kids are tucked away in bed. So our kids are young enough that they typically go to bed, I'd say an hour to an hour and a half before we get in bed lights out. And when our kids are going to bed, Dan and I usually divide that up unless one of us is traveling or away. But most nights, our sort of evening, our adult time, our wind down begins when their bedtime routine wraps up. We did do an episode on sleep for littles, and I will link that in the show notes. I am not an expert on sleep for littles, but if you are struggling with getting your kids to sleep, we had a PA who is a sleep coach for parents. I will link that episode in the show notes. I don't have the episode number right off the top of my head. So the first thing that I do once the kids are down, before I sit down and lose momentum and motivation, is clean up some clutter. So I like to spend a few minutes doing post-dinner cleanup if any of that remains. I try to clean up anything that was out and cluttered and used by the kids. Yes, ideally they are cleaning up after themselves, but our kids are humans, not robots, so that doesn't always happen. So I run around and clean up things like stray shoes, art supplies, toys, kid or adult lunch boxes, just helping those things to find their way to their homes in case they weren't placed in their homes appropriately during the afternoon or evening. We run our dishwasher almost every night. So at any time, we have anywhere from 5 to 7 humans at our house. So I gather up any stray glasses, plates, anything. I put them in the dishwasher. If Dan and I are having dessert, I'll wait to start that until after we have some dessert, after the kids go to bed, and I'll set it to run after we're in bed. Dan often takes a shower in the evening, so we'll wait and start the dishwasher after he's showered. That was way more detail than you needed to know about the cleanup clutter part of my evening wind down routine. The next thing I do, if I haven't done it already, is to plug my phone in. I love audiobook content. Give me all the podcasts. I love a good audiobook. I usually have my AirPods in when I'm doing that cleaning up, buzzing around the house, returning things to their proper homes. And then when that wraps up, I put my phone and my headphones in their home, in the kitchen, plugged in for the night, particularly if I'm not on call. This technology boundary is something that has helped me to be more present, to spend less time doom scrolling, and to get to bed on time. And let me tell you, doom scrolling is a real thing. And I can easily look at my phone and then look at the clock and realize that I have lost 30 or 60 minutes, poof, gone. And I didn't really do anything meaningful. Maybe I laughed a little bit, but it wasn't really enhancing my life in any way. So for me, having a home and a specific time or deadline for me to stow my phone has been super helpful to me. And the next thing we do is some sort of activity together. So Dan and I try to have some time together in the evenings after the kids go to bed. If you have young kids, you know what it's like to try and have a conversation with your spouse where every other word in every other sentence is getting interrupted. So whether that's sitting down to watch an episode of a show that we're watching together, part of a movie, sitting and chatting, maybe having a little bite of dessert together, decompressing for the day, we try to keep a mix of sort of communicating about logistics, like practice was rescheduled and so needs new sneakers and Halloween costumes, etc., and about personal things like how we are doing, how things are going at work, how things are going with the podcast, etc. Then I will do a little bit of prep for tomorrow. I don't go crazy about trying to have everything ready for the morning, but for some reason, if I do some of these things in the evening, I feel like I have just the leisure of doing it at my own pace, as opposed to in the morning. Some of these items feel really rushed or stressful. So if I'm doing a morning workout, I'll try to lay out my workout clothes. If I'm going to the office, I'll lay out my scrubs or my work clothes. If I'm recording, maybe I'll pick my outfit for what I'm going to wear when I sit down behind this microphone. So I either physically lay out those clothes, or sometimes I find it's enough to just mentally decide what I'm wearing and kind of know where those things are, so that decision is made, so that in the morning I don't have to make it. I will do things like prep my own lunch for work, sign any kids' assignment notebooks or homework folders or things that were left out if they weren't done earlier in the afternoon. Anything that isn't time sensitive that I can do in the evening to prep for the next day. Checking those things off your to-do list really rocks. It makes me feel like a rock star even before I go to bed. The next thing in my routine is personal hygiene. So things like wash face, brush teeth. My evening hygiene routine starts with brushing my teeth and then washing my face. As someone who's working in the aesthetics space, I used to be terrible about skincare and products and washing my face at all, really, honestly. Younger me was just lucky in terms of didn't need a whole lot of like products. Also, I had younger skin, so that makes sense. But now I'll do a double cleanse, do my personal skincare. But the order of operations really should be, and this is what I try to do, is brush teeth first and then wash your face. So I actually take my meds, brush my teeth, wash my face, because of bacteria potentially spreading around your mouth from brushing your teeth that you can then wash off when you cleanse. And in terms of evening meds, I am on a beta blocker for tachycardia, and I take a magnesium supplement in the evening. I am not your healthcare provider, and you should talk to your own one before starting or researching supplements. Magnesium helps with things like melatonin, calming your neuromuscular system. And it also has been shown to be linked with increasing amount of time spent in deep restorative sleep. So if sleep is something that you've been struggling with and you press play on this episode because you thought it might help you get some more sleep, consider adding magnesium to your evening routine. I probably take mine 20 to 30 minutes before I want to be asleep. And then sometimes I also will wash my face and then do a red light on my face and neck while I'm, reading or listening to music or hanging out in our bedroom, which leads me to my next item. Confidence is so important in life, at work, and in business. And there is one thing I did years ago that skyrocketed my confidence. Feeling good makes such a difference in the way that we show up in the world. The confidence booster, one of the biggest ones ever, was a virtual color consult with Created Colorful. You sign up, tell them about yourself in a quick questionnaire, and then you take photos of yourself, no makeup, with natural lighting and various colors of fabric draped across your chest. Send in all those photos and one of the virtual color specialists reviews them. They send you an email with details on your season, your ideal colors, and knockout colors that are unique to you. Let let me tell you, when I sit down behind this podcast microphone to record a video and I'm wearing a top in one of my knockout colors, I feel like an entirely different person. Add in some lipstick in my color palette and it's the chef's kiss of confidence and self-care. Use the discount code Tracy or the link in the show notes for $20 off any consult, gift consult, or bundle. And get ready to boost your confidence and simplify your wardrobe. Reading time. At the end of a long day, I love to lose myself in a really great book. I'm here for all the nonfiction sort of during the day when it comes to things like self-development, self-improvement, skills, business development. And oftentimes I consume those either via audiobook, listening to while I'm out and about, or a physical book. But in the evenings, you will find me reading modern romance, historical fiction, some mild psychological thrillers. I don't like to be like terrified by the things that I'm reading. But recently, on the recommendation of a friend, I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And it was just one of those books that I wanted the book to never end. I wanted to keep reading it to find out what happened, but I also wanted to savor every moment of the book. It's probably one of my favorite books that I've read this entire year. And I just find such joy in stories, and reading before bed is such a great way to relax. In fact, I don't have the actual studies to back this up, but I have an Aura ring that tracks my sleep. And on nights when I read before bed, I have better sleep, interestingly. If you're looking for a great read and you've sort of been out of the habit of reading and you're looking for a really good book, I will link The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue in the show notes. It is sort of a combination of historical fiction and modern fiction all in one book. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but so great. So definitely check it out if you haven't read it yet. And this isn't a specific step in the routine, but I try to limit blue light before bed. I'm usually reading either my Kindle, which doesn't have any blue light, or a physical book. I put my Kindle on night mode in the evening. And here's why. Blue light has been proven to interfere with things like your circadian rhythm. It tells your brain that it's bright and it's daylight when you're meant to be winding down. Blue light interrupts your melatonin production and leads to less deep and restorative sleep. And yes, your computer screen, probably your iPad, depending on what you're using the iPad for and how bright the screen is, and also your laptop have blue light coming out of them. So I would say consider blue light blocking glasses at a minimum, or ditching screens in the 30 to 60 minutes before you want to be asleep in bed at a maximum. Your sleep quality will thank you. And then the last thing in our wind down routine is a lights out deadline. Dan often goes to work super early in the morning. Our kids are early risers. I do not know if we made them that way because we are early risers, but we are definitely an early to bed, early to wake type of family. I aim to have the lights out for us as adults somewhere between 9 and 9:30 on like weeknights or school nights. And yes, I know that that is early and that makes me lame. And quite frankly, I do not care. I would so much rather be a well-rested nerd with an immune system that's functioning, feeling my best and energetic than a cool, sleep-deprived, cool person, whatever the opposite of a nerd is. It doesn't matter to me, obviously, what your deadline is specifically, but it's more important that you have a consistent time that you're heading to bed, and consistency across weeknights and weekends is also important here. So having that consistency, both with a routine and the timing of that routine, makes it easier for your body to regulate that inner clock, your circadian rhythm, makes it easier to fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up after getting enough sleep feeling refreshed. I'm too stressed out to potentially not set an alarm, but they say if you're getting enough sleep that you will wake up naturally on your own at the time when you're supposed to wake up. I need an alarm. Otherwise, I can't sleep because I'm stressed out about not waking up. As someone who's always needed a little extra sleep and definitely really needed good sleep ever since I was a baby, and even in college, I was often the first to bed. Now, on girls' trips or family trips, I am oftentimes the first person to go to bed. I know how crucial this routine can be, and I didn't have one for a long time, and sleep was something that I was really struggling with. Prioritizing sleep is not just a luxury. This is a basic need. It's a necessity for our health, for our productivity, for how we are feeling, for our wellness. So take a look at your own wind down evening routine and see if there are little tweaks that you can make, or maybe you don't have a routine and this inspires you to create one so that you can set yourself up to wind down and have really good quality sleep. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to another episode of The PA is In. I hope that you found these tips helpful for creating your own wind down routine in the evening. Remember, sleep is vital, and putting in a little effort in the evening can go a long way towards ensuring that you wake up feeling your best. Until next time, I hope that you sleep well. That's all for today. This PA is out. Congratulations, you've just joined an awesome club. By listening to a full episode of The PA is In, you are officially on the Unicorn PA team. Welcome aboard. What most team members do is they subscribe to the podcast because that allows them to automatically get the latest episode of the show. The life of your dreams exists on the other side of taking action. Keep making small shifts and keep getting better. Your life will improve, your career will soar, and you will have the confidence you need to create your own success. I will see you in the next episode. This PA is out.